You're live. Here we are, guys. Hey, it's Gavin Syme here. Let's talk freedom for just a couple of minutes. I'm at the studio. I'm down here working because freedom isn't free, and neither is the time it takes to make videos. And I have a day job too, but I wanted to take a few minutes. Hey, all. I want to talk about how we can stop the cops. It's time to get freaking serious, America. And I'm seeing so much cowardice. And we've got to stop this cowardice. We've got to stop being afraid. And I want to talk really quick. We're not going to do like a 30-minute live stream tonight. Everything's going good except for people are still suffering, from the native to the political prisoner from Oregon, from the Bundy Ranch. We saw some testimony at the Oregon trials today for the Oregon standoff. Blaine Cooper, who they got to plea out, and they've had him in jail for a year away from his family, and they've just been beating him down and torturing him, and they got him to testify against the defense. And so here we are, right? Now, what they did at the Oregon Refuge was good. What protesters did at DAPL was good, and it's actually very similar. What they did at Bundy Ranch, what we did at Bundy Ranch was good. We need to get on the ball. They keep trying to do these narratives. Guys, I saw this photo yesterday, and it was from like an Applebee's. It was a trivia thing at the Applebee's, and it was saying, unlike the protesters at DAPL, who used guns to take over a wildlife refuge. And I thought, well, that's pathetic. That's the feds right there. What kind of a trivia game has trivia questions about a man who's still in jail on charges, who's still pending trial, but was actually acquitted of the charges that they're making up about him, okay? And so they had this trivia trying to demonize patriot principled acts against the natives up at DAPL, standing for their lands and their treaties and their rights. Guys, everyone's rights are their own. So how do we stop the cops? Okay? How do we stop the cops? We don't need to calm down. We need to rise the heck up. Do any of you go to sleep at night thinking about the people that are lying on a cement bed that's cold, freezing cold, with a blanket this thick in a 50-degree room away from their families, and police are coming and banging on the door every hour so that they don't get good sleep, so that they can psychologically torture them? You call that justice? I call that disgusting. I call it cruel and unusual punishment, and I call it illegal. I've been in their jails, and so have many of you. We're not going to fix it with walls. We're not going to fix it with politicians. The problem isn't immigrants. The problem is us, not resisting our own evil government, you guys. And Kelly Stewart did this awesome video earlier today where she was down at the jail and she had just come out of the courtroom. If you want to get mad at our police and our government, go sit in a courtroom for a day and watch somebody's life be destroyed with lies from a government, from police reports that universally lie. Now, I want to ask you a very simple question. Who in every instance whatsoever is violating us? Really simple, right? Who's the one pointing a gun at our head and locking us in a cage and then guarding the door to kill us if we try and escape the torture? Who is it? Who's doing it? Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me in the stream. Who is doing this? Exactly. The cops are. The blue line is doing this. Don't you dare sit there and say most cops are good. If most cops were good, they would be stopping the bad ones. Does this mean all the cops are murderers? No. No, it doesn't. Does it mean I hate the cops? No. I pity these freaking cowards. I pity the man. I pity the man. And this is what they actually say, guys, when people question them that no cops, right? They say, look, I got a paycheck and a pension and a family to think about. I pity the coward. I pity the coward who says my paycheck and my pension supersedes my principle as a protector, as a preacher, as a patriot. I pity that man because he's nothing but a prostitute. In fact, maybe I feel a little bad saying that because I feel like I'm insulting the prostitutes. The prostitute goes out and she's degrading herself, but at least she doesn't lie about what she is. The blue line goes out prostituting themselves for a pension and a paycheck, harassing, collecting, and extorting, and they have the gall to say, we're heroes. And if you question them, everybody says they're putting their life on the line. Well, guess what? Who cares? The burglar puts their life on the line as well. And there's no difference between the cop and the burglar, except for the cop says he's a hero and says he deserves a special elite class of respect. You should all be pissed. You should all be angry. And you know how you should fix it? You should fix it by loving your neighbor as yourself. See, people are going to say, Gavin, you're out of control, you're angry, you're hateful. My words are so in control right now. I'm talking to God right now, you guys. When Jesus saw the corruption of the scribes and the Pharisees, of the political leaders of his day, he didn't go up and shake their hands and say, thank you for your service, I want to work with you. If he had done that, they wouldn't have crucified him. You know what Jesus said to the leaders of the day? You know what he said to the feds? The police of the day? He said, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! How shall you escape the damnation of hell? You know what he said to the sinner? The sinner that wasn't just a hypocrite destroying people's lives. He said, go, daughter, and sin no more. You know what it's like to have the wife of someone call you whose husband has been in prison for a year for nothing? You know what it's like to see people's lives be destroyed, to get the calls, to talk face to face to the people who police murdered their children? You want to tell me there's good cops? You go find the ones that are stopping that. You stop saying that a patriot supports the blue line. If you support the blue line, if you stand with the police, you do not stand with the Constitution. You do not stand with liberty, and you're not a patriot. You're a loyalist, and you're someone who puts a pension and a patriot above liberty. If you support the blue line, there's the door, because the blue line is treason. Does it mean I hate cops? No. I wish to God we had cops who weren't cowards, who put principle and protection of people's life, liberty, and property above their paycheck. Cops exist to destroy your liberty in America today. That's not why they were created. If we would elect lawful sheriffs instead of compromising our voice and our vote, yeah, we'd have cops that protected us. But stop pretending that those who violate the bravest of us, stop pretending that those who destroy our liberty, who extort us on the side of the road, who guard the courtrooms with judges of terror and treason, stop pretending that those men and those who stand beside them, no matter how polite or nice they may seem, stop pretending they're heroes, that they're righteous, or that they're protectors. They're criminals, they're terrorists, and they are treason. We don't need to say angry. We don't need to lose control. We don't need to go out saying F the police. We need to face toe-to-toe with them with a camera in our hands on the street, and we need to say, what's wrong with you? What do you think you're doing? You violate people for a paycheck? You guard these courtrooms and you watch this violation of due process for a paycheck? You stand around with your buddies convincing them yourselves that you're the hero of the story, and then you get in your car and you go chase people down the road and destroy their lives when there's no victim and no crime except for the ones that you have made up? You coward. I pity you. You need to get in the cop's face. That's how we stop the police. The police continue doing what they do, not simply because they're corrupt, but because many of them, the ones that have better hearts, that maybe got into it because they thought they wanted to help people and now they've just been brainwashed, those people, they continue thinking what they do is good because everybody's patting them on the back. Hey, yeah, great job, hero. And then we say, well, we got to work with the police, so we should thank them for what they're doing and hope that they come over to our side. You do not go to a terrorist and say thank you for being a terrorist in hopes that they will stand with you. You don't comply with tyranny and evil in hopes that they will come around. You don't represent liberty that way. You don't represent Jesus. You don't show love that way. What is the law? Life, liberty, and property. Police don't enforce the law in America, folks. That's a fact. I still have a standing $500 reward for anyone who can find me a police officer that honors his oath. No one has even submitted an application. See, we have a lot of trolls, and they're saying this is angry. Gavin's out of control. He's losing his mind. You know what? Righteous men get angry about evil. Righteous men get angry about their neighbors being murdered and their lives being destroyed. Folks, in 2014, the police, through asset forfeiture, stole $5 billion plus. Burglars and robberies were less than $5 billion. The police stole more than all the burglaries and robberies combined. And then we have people who we pretend are with us or with the Constitution, like Donald Trump, who we say, oh, he's going to drain the swamp. And I'm saying, wait a minute. Isn't the people he's appointing the swamp? He's sitting around with his buddies and they're all saying, let's... Our politicians, our leaders, they're supporting it. I seem to be losing connection a little bit here. Someone who says, I'm going to drain the swamp, I'm going to defend you, I'm going to stand with you, and then says, let's steal their stuff, let's leave the prisoners in jail, let's expand the prisons, let's make more rules and expand the illegal federal agencies and the thugs at the Border Patrol. Let's keep expanding the corruption. That's not someone who's draining the swamp. That's someone who is the swamp. And it's time to get our heads on straight. So this is my message today. I'm sick of talking to these people who are suffering. I'm not sick of them. I'm sick of what's being done to them. Sometimes it's all I can do to hold it together when I'm talking to these women whose husbands and children are robbed from them. Because it's so sad. And if you think, oh, I wish that person was in jail, or I wish they were in jail, if you think anybody should be subjected to this justice system, then you're not in reality. You haven't been in this justice system, because this justice system has no bearing on due process. Our police universally violate our rights. So if you say the police are the good guys, if you don't stand up to them, you're not a patriot, you're a loyalist. If you say, let's work with them, they're good guys. I don't care what they are at church or at the barbecue. I care whether they're doing their job, whether they're stopping the bad cops, whether they're defending life, liberty, and property. So how do we stop the cops? Let's close with that. We stop the cops by using our voice like I'm doing right now. We stop the cops by doing what everybody calls me rude for doing, because that's why the police and the system are working so hard to demonize people like me and others when we stand up to them on the street. You've got to stand up with principle to the foot soldier on the street. And I've seen more of this. I'm seeing more and more people take their cameras. They're speaking out. They're exposing what's happening to them and their friends in the courtroom. They're airing the dirty laundry. They're walking up to the officer on the street and saying, shame on you. They're walking up to the officer on the street and saying, what do you think you're doing? Why are you violating instead of protecting? And you need to start doing that. Our voice is power. It's a sword. And if you take your voice and your camera, all throughout history, people wanted to have a voice so they could speak out of the injustices done to them. And now we have the greatest media platform in history in our pockets, and we're not using it with courage and boldness. So I'm asking you all to start stopping when you see police with other people stopped. To start pulling out your camera, rolling down your windows and watching them. To start walking up to the officers as they strut around like cockatoos thinking they're heroes and saying, you're not a hero until you start defending our rights. You're not a hero until you stop the bad cops. You're not a hero until you stop writing the extortion and stop arresting people for fake crimes and for possession of this or that or fake federal laws, because real law is life, liberty, and property. And so please, let the trolls say all they want, guys. Let them rail, because I know who wins. The reason they're so angry is because a few people are waking up. Because you're waking up. But you know when you really take the next level is when you use your voice. Stop relying on my voice, because when they take me, there has to be a voice. You have to stop compromising. That's right. You have to stand up. Lots of people, lots of trolls here, right? That's because they're angry. That's because they hate the truth. They don't love their neighbor. And so I'm looking to you guys to do that. Next time you see a cop, I want you to stop. I want you to observe him. I want you to pull out a camera. I want you to live stream it. I want you to make it normal, because there's one thing. This is how they've sold us tyranny. I'm going to close with this. They've sold us tyranny by making us think it's normal and telling us it's freedom. And there's no greater slave than the slave who thinks that he is free. How we sell liberty and standing up to these corrupt, treasonous, cowardly tyrants is we make it normal to stand up and say, you're not okay. You're a terrorist. You're a criminal. The cops have to be stopped. Not with violence or hate, but with principle and courage and love of neighbor and a willingness to love them enough to say, you're a criminal and you have to stop. You guys have a good night. Get the word out, and I'll be looking for your videos, because we need a forest. Find 3 people. Make a tree. Get 3 people. One of you with a camera, the other 2 for backup. Go out and start turning the world upside down with principle. Only use this standard. Love your neighbor as yourself, and do not violate the rights of another man. You guys have a good night.